Hi, I'm Adam Deal with CMIWorship.com, and in this video I'm going to explain a little bit about how to play second keyboard. Second keyboard is not the person that's playing piano, but the person that's playing all the other stuff, like a synthesizer. Okay, before we even get to practical piano stuff, I want to talk a little bit about philosophy of the synthesizer. Number one is you need to consider your place. In the mix, you're rarely ever going to be the loudest thing. You are fluff. It's okay. The bass provides big, beefy foundation. There's other people that play mid-range. This is the chord. Sometimes you provide the harmonic foundation, but a lot of the times, you're the extra tinkle on top that brings the magic into place. You're fluff, and that's okay. That's not a bad thing, but it's the fluff that makes it pretty and perfect. Also, consider your sonic space. Sonic space is like the space in which you hear. Okay, so we have low stuff, mid stuff, middle, and high stuff. You need to remember where you are. The bass player, he's going to be way down here. The piano and guitar stuff is going to be around in here. You will play here sometimes. You will play here sometimes. You will play down here sometimes. It's important that you understand where you're supposed to be playing in the sonic range and where you need to be playing, so that way you can play appropriately. For example, if it's a part of the song when the bass player is not playing, get your left hand down there on a pad. It'll be awesome. Okay, let me give you a few examples. Before I give examples, it's very important that you understand how to play an open chord. Rather than playing the full chord, like on an organ, say it'd be like in the key of D. Of all places, the organ is the worst at playing thirds. Remember the phrase, thirds are for nerds. Not always, but often. If you want to sound open, you need to remember that thirds are for nerds. Leave them out. So instead of, you'd leave it open. Or I like the tonic on top. So that will create an open sound. That's good for any of the sounds that we use on a second keyboard. The three sounds, in my opinion, that are the most important for a modern worship sound are an organ, a rock organ, strings, and third is pad. I do not call strings a pad. I differentiate. I think they are different. First of all, an organ. I think we all know what an organ is. It has an attack. I think it's important that we find a sound that we can use that has a vibrato on it, that we can adjust. For example, here's a note. Way over here on the left, I have a little wheel I'm using. You can kind of see it there. I'm going to take it out of the picture, but that is what no, I'll leave it in. I'm going to play a note. I trust that it's coming through the computer. Real steady. That tone is important to change because an organ, unlike a piano has an attack and decay. When you hit a note. An organ has an attack, and that's it. It'll be very, very annoying unless you change it. Whoops, that was a total botch. So that kind of rocks, right? You can kind of change the sound. If you've ever seen the movie Dumb and Dumber or Dumb and Dumber, they do that. What's the most annoying sound in the world? That's how an organ sounds if you don't use a mod wheel, like this guy right there. It can be the most annoying sound in the world, especially if you're high up. Another thing to remember with an organ is that one note can go a very, very, very long way, especially in a fast song. Like I'm Trading My Sorrows. In the key of A, I would just go, I'm trading my... You can't even see what note I'm on, because I played it up here. I'm trading my sorrows, I'm trading my shame, I'm laying them down for the joy of the Lord. One note can go a long way. With an organ, you can do different things. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's mid. Sometimes at my church, when we're doing a slow song, and I want a kind of a different sound for the chorus, I'll just have the organ go mod wheel off. It just kind of creates a block sound. An example of something on this might be I'm Free. You might be able to go, through the blind we'll see, through the deaf we'll hear, da 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 da. You get to the chorus, I am free to run. And again, if you watch the last video about how to play an open sound on a piano, again, that's all I'm doing. I'm playing a 5 and a 1 in the key I'm in. And you can kind of hold that out. It just sounds wonderful. That's an organ. Next sound is the string sound. In my opinion, it's important to find a string sound that has attack. Because sometimes you can do a lead line. Like an I am free. There's the great lead line. I am free to run. So you can do lead lines, so you need attack. They can be done with lead lines. You can also do, I've recently been doing this at my church, and I love it. Strings are great at doing the quarter note pulse. Especially in a slow song like Holiness. Holiness, holiness is what I long for. When you're doing that, you want a little bit of a space between your chords. So you don't want... you don't want... You want to imagine a violin going, ha, 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 ha. You want just quarter notes. That creates kind of a rolling sound with the whole band. Again, none of this stuff I'm playing will sound great by itself. You're the second keyboard. It means you're part of something bigger. You're adding some fluff. Alright, third example is the pad instrument. Pad, I differentiate between a string and a pad sound because a string sound has attack, like this. A pad sound does not emulate an acoustical instrument. It sounds somewhat digitized, and a pad sound does not have an attack as much, in my opinion. Like this. Watch again. I'm going to hit the key hard. I hit it as hard as I want, and all you hear is... There's lots of different types of pads, but I like the kind that you can use a mod wheel on, like this. I think it really adds some cool tone to it. An important thing to remember when you're playing a pad is to anticipate the changes. If you hit the keys down on tempo, because it has no attack, it will sound late. So you have to play early. You have to strike the key early in order for it to sound on time. So like this, if you're playing Holiness, 1. Da 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 da. I'm not very good at that because I don't do it a lot. But if you go to like a big concert, like Casting Crowns or something, watch their keyboard player. When they start doing a pad sound, some of them, they hit down on the chord like a whole beat, sometimes more than a beat, before it's supposed to go, because they know how long it will take for that sound to go. So when you're using a pad, make sure you know when you need to hit the key for it to sound on time. And again, a pad is very versatile. You can play it low if you need to fill out everything. Or down here even. You can play it right in the middle. Or you can play it up high. Ooh, creates kind of a magical feel. A pad is a great thing, two very useful pieces of information, especially for a worship leader or music designer. 2 things you can use a pad for that are very helpful. To change keys, like if you end in the key of G, the whole band ends, and you need to get to a weird key like E flat. A pad is a soft way to get there, so the band's going, or it'd be, it was a nice, beautiful transition. Another thing to use the pad for, I totally just forgot it just now. I'm going to think about it and then cut out this part right here, and we'll come right to it. And so the next thing you'll see is me remembering the idea I had. Okay, the other thing you can use a pad for is while you're praying. I think it's beautiful. You got something like this. In the key of E, I'm just going to play 5-1-5. Dear Lord, we're so grateful to be in your presence today. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Pad has an advantage over guitar in this. Jamie Brown at worthilymagnified.com had a great video about what to play when you pray, and it's also linked here on cmiworship.com. And he explains that you don't just play the same thing over and over and over because it sounds like I agree with him entirely, except with a pad. With a pad, you can get away with it because it's not repetitious. It's just a pad. It's just there behind the scenes. Now, if you do, this is what Jamie was saying on his website. If you do this, Lord, we're so glad to be in your presence today. That'll be crazy. You don't want to do that. But to be on a pad and just go, that's rocking. That's cool. That can create an environment. Maybe have some cymbals going, shh, and a chime player go, oh, it's beautiful. Clouds will be floating. Cool. Remember that when you're playing a second keyboard, you are a synthesizer. That means you synthesize many things into one. That means in a song you might need to change your sound from one part to the next. The verse might need a pad, and then the chorus needs an organ. It's okay. And then the interlude needs you to be playing a techno lead. Change it around. It's okay. You are a synthesizer of many. That makes you incredibly valuable. So hopefully this was a very helpful video, and hopefully it wasn't too long. I can still post it up on YouTube. We'll find out. So keep worshiping, keep serving the Lord, and stay faithful on your team. If you have not done so yet, right over here, click on the subscribe via email area, type in your email, hit enter, and any future update will come right to you on your email.